Right? You've got good people within the community that are doing good work, but they're not recognized. Who are being recognized? The drug dealers, the pimp on the televisions, the so-called basketball player. So what we're saying is that, look, you've got great people in the community that are doing fantastic work. Let us use those as some kind of a counter to those negative images where they're getting from the gangster rap thing. Let us stand up as a black community. And what the government did, they actually said, let's go to the black community and let's see what they want. It's not white tokenism. It's what you call love and caring from white people.
Simon Woolley from Operation Black, you're actually involved in helping to appoint these young role models.
Yes, I am. And also
why would black youths look up to, say, businessmen as opposed to sort of...
Well, I guess it's breaking the stereotype of role models. You know, we've heard that people look up to Jay-Z and 50 Cent. And what we're saying is actually a role model is someone much closer to you. That we know when you have a strong family structure that the best role models are your parents or your family or when you go to church. But what happens if that infrastructure isn't there? Who's taking care of these young men and these young women? I mean, I guess what upsets me is that people like Nick, actually, Nick, you should know your brief. And the brief would tell you, as has just been said, that tackling this problem of underachievement of young black men is that we've come together with a number of recommendations.
Simon.
A number of
Let me finish. One class, or a lawyer or a doctor, he or she is not going to be around those kids every single day of the week. What can it achieve?
Well, I'll tell you.
What can it achieve?
I'll tell you.
Unless she's going to move in with these kids.
It's an example. Gus, so we've got Professor Gus John in the audience, who's from the Institute of Education. You've been criticising this plan. Why would it not work?
The whole thing is wrong-headed. It's wrong-headed because it's institutionalizing some processes that are pretty organic within communities. Children engage with role models of a whole range of different role models every single day. Their teachers, their parents, particularly the single mothers. This morning I heard Tim Campbell on, I think it was GMTV or something,
The Apprentice,
that his role model, he didn't use those words, but his role model was a single mother. And some teachers who believed in him, worked with his high aspirations, had high expectations of him, and enabled him to progress. Young people are supported by such individuals around the place every day. Yes, some of them might subscribe to gangster rap, etc. But to suggest that they all are of that disposition, or the majority of them are, is completely wrong.
So it's taking the onus of teachers and parents.
I mean, of course, all it's saying is that to the young men that need a bit of guidance, that need to be shown.
I don't understand. Why don't you throw into that top 20 list a few white guys, a few white kids? I mean, I just don't get that.
I think that's the biggest mistake you're making, right?
Why is that a mistake? Well, like I said, I wouldn't be sitting here now. I wouldn't be a really well-paid, well-clever journalist.
Let me correct you.
If it wasn't for a young white guy.
Let me correct you what you're saying, because I think you're misguided. There's also projects, because I work on projects where there's white boys who need role models, okay? And the government actually doing that for white boys, because we know the biggest failures are the white boys and black boys together. So the government are doing things for white boys as well. So you're kind of wrong with that.
No, but I'm just saying, you didn't answer my question. In that top 20, why don't you throw in, say, 3 or 4 white guys?
Okay,
You're basically saying black guys need black role models to respond to them.
Well, Dr. William Henry is a youth worker. What would you say?
Well, I don't know if I'm a youth worker, I'm many things, but I'm going to say something and you'll probably edit it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
We're not going to edit anything, because we don't edit on this show.
Firstly, I have a book out called Whiteness Made Simple, and this is what the problem is here. I actually agree with what Nick just said about tokenism, because you cannot act like you're going to solve a problem and you don't understand the historical root of that problem. This is an inherently racist, classist and sexist society. The educational system was designed to fail white working class people. My parents and their generation came over here and inherited that system. We live in a society where up to this day, peoples of African ancestry still have no idea what they've contributed to human civilization. So hold on a second. To my young friend here on the end about the journalism, I take your point. But had you come through some of the courses that I went through, where I was doing African history from 1972, and I was taught by people like Professor Gus John, we were introduced to someone called J.A. Rogers. He was a Jamaican photojournalist who published photojournalism. In fact, he's credited as the world's first photojournalist. Now, we were told about him in 1972. So my question is, why aren't all of our children given this information at school? Because I do not deal with this idea of role models. A couple of years ago, I wrote an article called I'd Rather Have a Goal Model. Look at when David Beckham was a role model.
Well, what would you say to that,
hold on a
Paul?
second. David Beckham was a role model. I just want to finish this point.
Yeah, go on, go
David Beckham was a role model. Then when he got sent off against Argentina, the Sun newspaper printed pictures of him for people to urinate on. A role model will go from hero to zero like that. They need people who set achievable goals, who can map those goals for them, and then they can follow them. Then they can just look in the mirror and see what they can be.
Okay, Paul, what would you say